Dubai driving is crazy, y'all. Crazy. Wacha tupige kona hapa. Tuone venye driving, niwaoneshe how driving schools in Dubai are. So you get to know, y'all. Hi guys, how you doing? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Gracious Jane and I do content related to lifestyle, family and travel. So if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you get notified whenever I post a video. So guys, today's video is an interesting one because I will be sharing with you my journey on how to get a Dubai driving license, or rather UAE driving license. So I'll be taking you through this entire journey from my own personal experience, from the registration, from the time I started my classes. This journey has been a journey filled with tears, frustration, happy light moments, and above all else, the joy of just getting that license. Let's go to where it all started.
So how does it feel to be such a natural driver right now?
Wow, you guys, I am so happy.
How are you finding the UAE roads?
What? Busy! Oh my God! Hey! Watch it. It's guy. Huku na speed. Everybody is going at a speed of above 100. Hakuna barabara ziko na speed ya chini. Okay, there is an estate, but hizo zingine.
Yeah.
You guy, my guy.
Yeah,
that's a huge bump.
Okay.
While I'm still trying to get the hang of things in terms of kujua mabarabara.
First time you're driving in a two-way road where you're gonna, pass the
double decker bus and a motorbike.
Right.
But it's good, I thank God, because there's a day I wasn't. We are turning left here.
Yeah, you're turning left.
And then we park. So guys, I just got to where I first registered my driving classes. This is in Academic City, Dubai Academic City. It's like 10 minutes from where I live. So it's called Emirates Driving Institute. So they have a branch here and they have a lot of other branches all over the city and the UAE. So let me take you there so you get to see. All right, let's go. So guys, this is the EDI, or the Emirates Driving Institute Academic City branch. This is where I came to register for my classes and the journey began here. The reason I chose this school is, number one, I told you earlier, it's the proximity. It's like literally 10 minutes from where I live. Number two, I had seen a lot of reviews on their website and also Google, most people talking about how the institute is top-notch in terms of training, in terms of the trainers, yes, professionalism, and also the quality of their education. And number three, last but not least, is because they had a very good offer at the time I was registering. So that's why I chose this place. So guys, at the end of my video, I will give you an honest review about my experience and how it all went. So stick around. In the meantime, let me take you through number one, the registration. So we had two options. Number one, the first option was you pay 5,000 and a couple of hundreds, and that option was just basically for the classes and the exam and everything all included. However, in case you were to fail or the teacher feels like you need to extend your classes, you need to pay an extra fee. The other option was you pay a fixed amount as a package of 8,000 and a couple of hundreds on top, which was once you pay that amount, in case you fail, in case the teacher needs to extend your lessons, everything is covered within that package. So you don't need to go back to your pocket and pay. But since I was very confident having that I had a driving license from Kenya, I was like, well, I mean, even if I didn't drive much in Kenya before I moved out, I was like, I got a driving license, so the basics, it's not hard, it's not a big deal. So I chose to go with the option of the 5,000, and knowing that very well that I was gonna hack it. And in any case, I was like too overconfident, because I see my husband driving every day and I was like, it looks easy. So that's what I thought. And that's what I did actually. So I chose the 5,000. So that was the registration part. So basically they just require your Emirates ID, and of course you pay the fees, and then you choose your classes. So in terms of the second thing is the classes. So the classes run into two things. So you have the online classes if you want to attend the online classes, where you just give your portal, a student portal, where you can be able to go through the files. There's a lot of notes and some video demonstrations. So you do those. You can either choose to do that online classes. That's the first classes, or you can go to the lecture halls where you have the lecturers lecturing you about what you need to know about the roads and basically just training you. I chose the option of just doing the online classes, which took around maximum 2 weeks. So in the online classes, basically what I was learning is about the road safety, road signs, giving some circumstantial kind of tests where you are to judge your judgment on what you've studied in terms of the signs, safety on the road. The next step was not doing a simulator test. Simulator test is where you put you in a thing that looks like a car, and it actually has a steering. It has it's like like the way you play these video games, and you I wouldn't say it's a video game, like when you go to the theme parks and then you enter into a real car. So that's what happened. So the simulator, you do it for around 10-15 minutes with an instructor, and the instructor will now mark you to just see how your judgment is of situations and on the road, how it works. The other thing is, after the simulator test, I booked my classes. I booked them 2 hours for 3 days in a week, and I have had a very good instructor. Her name was Miss Miriam. I had a very good time with her. She was a very professional lady, patient, and I really learned a lot from her. So I enjoyed my classes with her. I did like 13 classes. Before doing the highway class, you have to do road assessment test. When I finished my practical classes, the next step which would have been to now do a road assessment test. My classes were very good. I had 2 hours per day, and in a week I had 3 classes. So 2 hours, which is a very long time. You learn a lot within those 2 hours. The classes were well defined. Like today you're going to learn how to do the turns. Tomorrow you're going to learn how to do parkings. The other day you will learn how to make U-turns. It was very systematic and very easy. So I did my classes. There were total 13 classes, and I had 2 more. So I completed my practical classes, and now remaining was 2 hours to do the highway. So before you do the highway, you have to do a road assessment. But to my surprise, I did not do the road assessment immediately. I got a text, surprise text, saying that my trainer has recommended I do additional 4 hours. I did not see this coming. I was so surprised. I mean, bearing in mind that overall, every time I had a class with my teacher, I would ask her, what is your take? How do you feel? Like, am I in the right track? Am I ready for the class? How are you feeling? And she was very confident with me. So I was really surprised to see that I needed additional 4 classes. And I felt so disappointed. So at this point is where I realized that, well, we had messed up. We should have taken the package, which does not require you to add any additional amount of money until you get the license. Because now the extension was costing me an additional 500 dirhams. Yes, that was the first setback. So I got 4 more additional classes. I finished, and then I did the road assessment. This is an internal exam where you go with an instructor, and they just you do a road test. So basically it's on the road. The good thing in the road test, yeah, I passed. It was just like a short 10 minutes. So you just get into the car with the instructor, go in, drive around. They'll be guiding you where to go. They'll tell you turn right, turn left, make a U-turn, all those kind of things. Everything that you've learned in class. They even tell you to park the car on the roadside. So it depends on what they feel like asking you to do. So I passed the internal road assessment test, and I was so happy, and I was again psyched up, and I was like, now there's no way I'm paying anything else, so let's go. So after I passed the road assessment test, I now booked parking test. So they call it a yard test. So basically you go into a yard, and it has all the parkings that are used in the UAE, which are the parallel parking, the angle parking, and there's the garage or reverse parking, and there's also you also do the emergency braking and hill parking. So those 5 of them. So there you're examined by also an internal examiner. Wow, hey, the parking test was a challenge. The first trial, I passed 3 parkings. The beauty with this is if you fail 1 parking out of the 5 that I've mentioned, if you fail 2, you repeat only 2. You don't do the whole thing again. So the first attempt, I passed 3. I passed the hills or slope parking. I passed the angle parking and the emergency braking. I failed the parallel and the garage parking. So I had to pay again. I paid 136.50 to be accurate for the parking test to do another one. I did the other one again. Remember, I'm doing only 2 parkings, the parallel and reverse. For some reason, those things I was not getting them. So I failed a total of 3 times before I could now pass. So the total amount I paid are now additional for parking. Remember, I paid additional classes 500 and something. Now for the parking, I paid another 409.50. Let's say another 500 bob to finish the parking. Hey, driving is expensive, you guys. Hey. Now at this time, I'm just regretting why I never even took that package, because the package was like 8K. So, and here I'm already I paid 500 and something, so now I've already paid another 1,000 bob on top. So I'm like 6.5 or something there about. So tunakaribia ile 5. In my head I'm telling myself, bado, I'm telling my hubby, bado tujafikia hiyo yao. Tukifikia hiyo package tutajua yenyewe we screwed up. But sasa tuko within the bracket. The God is good. I finally passed the parking assessment. Next step, booking RTA parking test. So RTA parking test, this is now booking with Serikal. So if you fail, it's expensive. So it's double what you're paying. It's actually double, actually, yeah. This was different because now, actually, this is something maybe I should tell you guys. You alone in the car, it's actually computerized. So there's a camera at the back. There's 2 cameras on the side. The steering, huku iko na sensors. It has sensors all over the place. If you release your hands from the steering and you're not supposed to, like, for example, you're only supposed to release your hand on the steering when you're doing the slope parking, because that's the one that you put the handbrake on. So you cannot, there are sensors everywhere. So yeah, so that they have the sensors in the car, the cameras, huku, both on the sides, nyuma, because you have to also check your shoulder. Yeah, and you have a computer system that is telling you start. The next parking is then you tell you it's parallel. The next parking is hill slope. The next parking is emergency braking. You know, those kind of things. So it tells you what to do. The first attempt, I passed the usual 3 of them. So guys, after now failing the parking test, the RTA, the first attempt I paid 293. The second attempt I failed again. I paid another 293. Now I was like, now this one I have to pay an additional class because clearly there's something that I'm missing. So I paid another 136 for the class. And God is good, I finally passed the parking test. So the next step was now to do the highway classes. Remember, I had 2 hours left. So I did the highway classes, and then after doing the highway classes, I was now supposed to do the RTA road test. In my opinion, this is the most difficult because they look at every single thing that you're doing. And those people, they do this every day. So they like they have like the marking scheme in their head. They're just sitting down next to you. You think nothing is happening, but they are observing what you're doing, every single thing. When I was doing the first road test with RTA, I was so anxious because I didn't want to fail. Already I had spent so much time and money, and I felt if I fail this, honestly, it's gonna be a very bad setback, even for me. Like I was even at this point, because now my husband even now came in and chipped in to help me finish this driving, because I now had exhausted my money. So I was feeling so bad, because if you fail the road test, you pay one cool 1,000 dirhams. That's equivalent to 30,000 Kenya shillings. So I was so anxious the first day. I was confident, but there was still that anxiety inside, because I was like, if I screw up, then this means more money and more time. The day of the exam, of course, I was advised to book an early class. So I chose to do the test in the morning. So in the morning, of course, I had to be very supportive, drops me there. The test usually takes 10-15 minutes max. And so my turn came and I was called and I went to do the test. The first test, oh dear Lord. For me, it felt, when I got to the car, I felt confident, because I was now comfortable being in the car and driving alone after doing the parkings and all that. So I was okay. So we get into the car and we're driving, and now I'm in this point where I need to join the main road. So initially it was just a small road, even a small neighborhood road. The speed is 40, so it's easy. So turn right, turn left. Then there's a point where you need to join the main highway or a main road, which the speed limit goes up now. It's 60. So of course you need to accelerate and join kabisa. Hey, my judgment was like, what I was told in my head. I was told, I was just remembering what people. I've had a lot of people do these exams, and I have heard a lot from them and with the experience. So they usually these RTA examiners, they don't like you wasting time. They have a lot of students, so they want you to do as quick as possible so they can finish. So don't waste time, don't hesitate. So for me, I'm joining the road and I'm like, checking. Then when I was going to enter, hey, some guy was speeding up. The examiner does what? Bang! Holds the steering. This is considered as a major fault. This is equivalent to a fail. If the examiner interrupts your driving either by braking or holding the steering, it's considered as a major fault and you fail. So that was a fail. So I knew, even by the time we were going back to the school, I knew I had failed. I was so disappointed. So very disappointed, I go. And now the next step is to book another test. So I paid 997, which is like 1,000 dirhams, equivalent to around 30,000 Kenya shillings. Guys, after paying this, I went again for the class. So I book and I go to do the test. Guys, I tell you, the devil is a liar. Same point. Now everything was fine. I drove so well. When I got to that road where you imagine the main road, some guy who was behind me, on this occasion, I could see him very well from my both mirrors. However, when I was going to join, because when people see these driving school boards in the cars, they tend to, normal drivers they tend to speed up and pass the students. So I think that's what he did. He saw me coming in and he saw like I was hesitating to enter the road, speeded up, and by the time I was changing the lane now, going to enter the main road, he was on my blind spot. The instructor again, boom, fail number 2. I was so disappointed. On this particular time, I was sure my judgment was right. I felt so disappointed and I was like, no, this is really unfair. I'm spending so much. Already now, guys, I think I'm almost to 8,000, 9,000. And I'm like, still, I don't have the license. It's costing now it's the family budget. This is now becoming part of our expense like every other month. So I felt really disappointed. So I spoke to my instructor and she was like, if you feel like it was unfair for you, why don't you go and petition? Because even they say when you get the results, you have like 2 days to petition, and they will, of course, the car has the cameras, so they will go check. And if you want to do another test, you can definitely ask them, and they will book for you a test. And then, however, I did not know when I booked this test, it's called a committee test. You need to pay. So my husband, I spoke to my husband and we were like, okay. My husband was like, I'm confident in you. I know you can do this. So let me pay for you this committee test and let's try it. So the committee test was costing around 707 dirhams, which is still not small money. So I paid and I did the test. Now, committee test, now I didn't have a female examiner. I got a male examiner from RTS still. So the male examiner was even tougher than the female examiner, because now he was taking me to roads that I did not even do in the first two assessments. First of all, when I was leaving the parking, he said it took so long to exit the parking. In the roads, I was fine. We did the turns and the rounds. In the road, I was quite fine. So when I was now coming back to the parking after the test, the parking where he asked me, choose a parking and park. So the whole entire parking was full. And again, this time is around 12 o'clock. So it's very busy during this time. The parking space was very narrow. I tried squeezing that car, trying to straighten. It was really hard for me. I mean, as a new driver, it was really hard for me. The car got into the parking, but I realized on his side, there's no way he was going to come out. So it was like in an angle. I wanted to straighten it out. Tried once going out and in. And by this time, he was just already pissed and was like, you already failed. So this was the third time I was failing. I was like, no way. I'm just so pissed off. I'm tired. Let me now take a break. I mean, I have spent so much. Now we are clocking 9,000. And I mean, this was so frustrating for me. So I chose to take a break for a month. I even told my husband, let me just reset. Maybe this thing is not for me. I even started hating driving. It's like, no, I don't want to. I prefer being driven. Honestly, I came to realize, by the way, I prefer being driven. It's just that you need to do this skill. But for me, when God blesses me, I prefer to have a chauffeur. I don't like driving. So I decided to, when I was taking a break, I decided to also extend my learning permit because it was expiring in September. So I had to take a new permit, which costed me 146 dirhams. So what happened? I took a break for a month. And then, the way you have something nagging behind your head, like you feel like you need to just get over with it, finish and go, kalas, finish this thing. So I was feeling like that. So I was like, now I need to really finish this driving. So I told Habi, just pay for this test. Let me do it for the last time. And also, I will actually do the 4 hours additional classes and I finish it completely. So I did that. So I took the test. I took the classes, 4 additional classes, and took the test, and God is good. At the fourth attempt, I passed. Guys, I was so happy. This was the 4th attempt, and I was telling myself, Lord, I was so anxious. Like the previous 2 nights before I did the test, I was really anxious. So when I did the test and I passed, I felt like some weight was lifted off me. I was so happy. So guys, in total, I spent 9,915.75 to be exact, 0.75 dirhams, which is equivalent to Kenya shillings 297,472. Kenya shillings. 200. It's almost 300k, you guys. 300k to get a driving license in UAE. In my country, I'm telling you guys, that amount of money can get me a second-hand car and pay a fraction of it to do driving. If I knew that it would cost me this much, I wouldn't have even enrolled. I would have even that money bought a shamba, start a business, or do something with it. How I would rank EDI in terms of quality of education, very good quality. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 5, I would give them a 5. 5 is excellent, yeah. The training is superb. I also did driving in Kenya, but if you compare the quality of education, EDI wins. Ranking the trainers on a scale of 1 to 5, I would say also 5. Professionalism, superb. Classes were on time. If it was a pickup, on time. They were thorough. Honestly, value for money, I would say a 2. It's too expensive. I mean, it's not a university degree. It's driving. It's too expensive. Too expensive. Reliability of the school, yes, they were thorough, I would say, in all ways. They were very reliable. The customer care was good. I was dealing with one of the guys called Sultan in the branch, Academic City. It was actually very reliable, very flexible, very good. And when you book a class, you get a text message telling you, confirming. It was actually very good. They were actually very reliable. Even their contact center, very reliable. Yes, I would recommend VDI to my friends. If you feel like you need to do driving in Dubai, I would recommend EDI. Anyone who wants to do driving in Dubai, number 1, if they give you an option of taking a package or just paying normal fee, take the package. Number 2, ask questions as much as possible with your trainers. They are experienced. They do this every day of their lives. So ask as many questions as you have, so you get to know about the rules, the fines, everything you need to know about. Number 3, this is very important when you're doing the assessment or doing the test. Always listen to the examiner. They have a lot of students doing the test every day, and you know students how they drive, so their patience already. If you come, maybe you're the third person, and the first 2 are already annoying, so you can imagine. So be very attentive, be present, be there, and listen to the instruction. If they say turn right, turn right. And finally, number 4, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of these roads and the highways. Don't be afraid to drive. I mean, for me, coming from Kenya, where the roads are very tiny, like we don't have these major super highways, it's taken a lot of courage to be able to drive here. So don't be afraid. It can be done. If I usually tell myself, if my husband can do it and we come from the same place in the same country, why can't I do it? So I can also do it. So just don't be afraid. Enroll, pay package, do all the things that I've mentioned in the video, and for sure you will pass. So guys, I thought also maybe to include somebody who's been experienced, a driver for the last 10 years in this region. So my husband has been around for a long time in this region, so he knows a lot about roads, traffic signs, and that's his own experience. So I just want him to share like 5 things that he would advise you guys, and even me, who's a new driver in the UAE, to just take home with me. So Boo, give us some wisdom.
All right, so you've heard from her and her own experience. Having, I'm the guy who was watching her do all this, so it's quite something to see her grow. The good thing is she's a good learner. She was a very quick learner, and that really helped a lot in this whole process. And even then, she still failed 4 times in the road test and a couple of other times in the parking tests. I've been in the UAE for the last couple of years. I've been in the Gulf for 10 years. I've been driving for those 10 years. My advice to someone who is looking to, get a driving license is when you're in the metro and you're looking down on Sheikh Zayed Road, you see a lot of cars and that scares you. However, when you're driving the car, it's not that bad, especially because you'll be driving almost the same speed with everyone else. So you stick to your lane, you check your side mirrors, you're gonna be fine. And actually driving in the highway for me is more relaxing because I feel like everyone is going at the same pace. Not a problem, and you keep your pace, make sure that you're not very close to other people. So that's the first tip. Be as easy and comfortable as possible when you're driving. Secondly, when you go to the mall and you want to park and you're not very confident on parking, do not go to squeeze parking spots. That's how you scratch cars. Go and park behind in spaces where there's enough space for you to park your vehicle. So that's actually one of the things that you can do to make sure that you're easy until when you're comfortable to park. Because sometimes parking spots in Dubai are quite narrow. And in some cases, especially in the mall, people cross park. And so you find that you don't have enough space to park your vehicle. Tip number 3, I would say, as a newbie, as a new learner, when you're coming into the exits, people will always hoot at you. Don't mind them, man. Don't mind people behind you. They can't hit you. Worry about the person who's coming on your left on your blind spot, or the person who you need to give way to before you get into the road. Those are the persons you need to concern yourself with. And tip number 4, when you're a learner, don't drive on the fast lane. At least, because in Dubai, everyone knows we have a little bit of tailgating sometimes. Just drive on the second or third lane and be very, very cautious of your blind spots. If you're coming from maybe like Africa, where we come from, we don't have big roads. So people usually do not know that there's a serious blind spot right behind the passenger seat in big highways, where if you're changing lane and the other vehicle is changing lane on the other side, you're not gonna see him unless if you turn your neck. And that's always the hardest part when you're driving. So you gotta be very, very careful with those. Otherwise, you'll be surprised just to see the car next to you ramming your vehicle. And finally, don't be afraid of driving in the Gulf. Don't be afraid of driving in Dubai. It's not that difficult, man. Like you heard her story. She failed in instances where somebody held the driving, the steering. In those cases, yes, you will fail straight out. It does not mean that they fail you on purpose. You really commit a mistake, and if you look at the camera, because they have cameras recording, so they don't just fail you. They fail you when you make a mistake. All you gotta do is, for those 15 minutes, be as cautious. You're driving at 40 kilometers per hour anyway. Be as cautious as possible, and you can even pass on the fast test. From my experience, I came with a Kenyan driving license, and that was the first thing I told them when I got. In fact, I told them, yes, I even had cars myself at the time when I was coming here. I'm like, yes, I even have cars back home, so this is a breeze. So already you set that mindset in them that I can drive. I'm confident in driving. If you come and tell them you've never driven before, I can guarantee you, you will do this for quite a bit of time. But I'm not saying you lie. I'm saying make sure that you tell the truth, because again, cars in Dubai drive quite fast. If you do not know how to drive and you make a mistake, you can cause a catastrophic accident, and you need to be very, very careful in that, right? So you do not get a second chance mishap in Dubai. If you make a mistake on the highway, you're gonna have maybe 2 or 3 or 5 cars ram into you, and that can be fatal, seriously fatal. And like, for instance, in places where vehicles just move slowly, and when you make a mistake, you just ram into someone and that's it. In Dubai, it can be serious. And especially if, for those who drive to Abu Dhabi, you know how it is. You're driving at very high speed. I think the speed limit now is 160. So you're driving at 160. All of you, maybe 5-6 of you together. If one of you makes a mistake, all of you die. So be careful. I mean, that's graphic, but really, it has happened before. Be very careful and be sure of your skill, but be confident as well.
Guys, I hope the video was very informative, and in case you have any comment or any questions, please put them in the comment section and I'll be happy to respond to them. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you get notified whenever I post a video. As always, I love you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.